everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be talking about the support strike. If you haven't heard, there is a support strike happening in Marvel Rivals where support mains are not playing their character because of multiple reasons. Some of these reasons are pretty valid, while some of them are just pretty dog shit thinking. So let's jump into it and start with what really kind of kicked off this whole movement. It starts with one simple question: what is the easiest role? Now, a lot of people like to say Strategist, and personally I also believe the fact that Strategists are the easiest role to play. Now, something I kind of feel like people do is that when they hear easiest, they like to inflate with the least useful role, but I promise you that is not the case. Just because a role is a lot easier than others doesn't mean that it isn't as useful. I think we can all say that healers in this game, or supports in this game, are definitely the strongest class of any hero. Now, I'm not talking strength wise, but they have the most power in a battle to change the tide. And that's just for the simple fact that, again, they're healers. Obviously, they're healing your teammates, and their ults are also extremely good. One can revive you, a lot of them just make you immortal, and then one of them eats the whole enemy team. Another reason why I think a lot of people get mad with like the easiest role is that a lot of people online, necros, like to say that support players are boosted. Now, to be fair on each side here, I do believe that they have a little bit of a reasoning to say it, but since they're just, them, they just have the worst way of saying it, so it just sounds really mean. The best way I could put it is that since support is one of the easier role to play, you don't have to do as much to get as much value as other roles. Now, that doesn't mean that you're just sitting there drooling while you're just firing off healing, right? I'm hoping that you're positioning yourself right, listening for audio cues so when you use your ult, or just making sure that when you use your ult, it's for good value and putting it in a place where people can actually use it. But especially like in season 1, where I believe that clip originated, triple support was running rampant, and it was a lot easier to get value from your character, just because support ults would just come in so fast that you would have one practically every fight. You really didn't even have to worry about actually healing and actually trying to kill things, because your whole team will just dominate, because if you had a Luna, well, then you just put on damage boost. I think now though, with supports getting nerfs to their ult usage, you definitely have to be a lot smarter and play a lot better, making sure to heal your teammates, and then also making sure that you're not only just healing but also DPSing to time. So do I think every support player is boosted? Obviously not. I don't think anybody does. They just say it that way so you get mad and then you type in their comment section giving them money. The next thing I want to talk about is criticism. Since this game is a free-to-play game, literally anybody can play it, and I feel like a lot of people who do play it don't understand how to give fair criticism to people. This leads to a lot of people yelling at supports and not giving them fair criticism on how they can play better. And I think supports are probably the most yelled at class, just because people are like, hey, this is an easy character to play, so how are you having such a hard time getting value? And those are the same people that just don't play support. Another thing too is that there's a lot of sexism in this game, just because, again, it is a free-to-play game, so literally anybody can do it. Even the edgy 14-year-olds that think it's funny just to fucking yell at people. And I'm not trying to be sexist when I say this, but a lot of girls like to play support. So anytime they're actually trying to give out comms or just try to say anything, a lot of people like to throw, just because, I don't know, man, they just hate women. And again, this goes for every role, but since we're talking about supports here, that's what I'm mainly focusing on. Then the other thing is that with this recent update of season 2, we have a new rank system. This new rank system is a lot more individual and puts all your stats aligned to see how much you should gain or lose, depending if you win or lose. Now, this is where I'm going to have to combat the strategist just a little bit. If you're someone that plays strategist and you say, hey, I am doing a lot of healing and getting a lot of assists, why am I losing or not getting as much RP as everybody else? Well, that's for the fact that you are not a healer. You are a strategist. You have the tools and capabilities to be able to pull off kills and final hits just like everybody else. Even someone like Invisible Woman, who doesn't have that great of a DPS for her primary hit, she has push, which is able to just launch people off the map and get a free kill off of, and she also has that little tick orb that does a lot of damage over time if you're able to keep someone in it. And you just have to get really crafty. Yes, this game is a team game, so if you're healing, obviously you're putting output into the team. But if you're not focusing on damage like a lot of Rocket people did, you're just objectively not helping as much as you could. Now, you can give me the fact that this game is very chaotic and there's a lot of times where you need to heal a lot. But again, that's where you have to find your opening and figure out when you should be DPSing and when you should be healing. This is the difference between a great healer and a great strategist. Then the thing I think that broke the camel's back was just the meta. Divers are running rampant. Captain America, Mr. Fantastic, a lot of characters got buffed this season, and it just makes for a perfect dive season. This is where people like to point at each other and put the blame on each other, because, I don't know, we just can't have any self-reflection. Even though if you're a tank and DPS and you see your support is literally pinging and running towards you needing help, you should help them. On the flip side of that, if you're a support and you run away from your team because you're getting smacked down and you're not pinging when enemies are coming at you, yeah, I could see why maybe the people in the front can't really see you anymore and can't help you. And this is why I really don't like the support strike. I think think on the support side of things, I can see why they're mad, right? I just gave you a bunch of reasons and I could see why. But at the same time, these argumentations of why these things are bad just causes a even more toxic playing base. If you're constantly going into games talking about like, I am healing you, you better be nice to me, or hey, I could play healer this game, but I just chose not to because I'm on strike, you're just as bad as insta-lag DPSs, but like the total opposite. Your abstinence is the annoying part. Now you might say like, well, that's kind of the point. Our abstinence is going to make people, I don't even know what it's supposed to do. Make people swap to support? Make them stop like bitching? Because I'm sorry, again, this is a free game. There is going to be a lot of just babies, a lot of just really fucking weird people playing this game, and it's just going to happen. I'm not saying that to excuse them. I'm just saying that you have to have like a different way of doing this type of stuff without it just seeming really annoying. Like for example, if we go back to that age-old question of what is the easiest role, there is an answer that I swear I have heard no one say yet, and it's the perfect answer that I don't know if people are ready to hear. The answer is it matters what character you play. Just because you play Hulk, just because you play Loki, just because you play Spider-Man doesn't make your role the hardest, or in vice versa. Just because someone plays Rocket, just because someone plays Squirrel Girl, and just because someone plays The Thing doesn't make that the easiest role. And you see how that answer like literally makes sense? Like I feel like if anybody just said that and nobody would have a problem with it because it makes sense. And the reason I bring this up is that I think support is acting as bitchy as DPS. In the same way that you complain about DPS players being like this big god complex thing where they just want everything around them and they don't want to switch, you are doing the same thing with the god complex. You guys honestly think that like you are on some like higher pedestal because you're a strategist and you heal people, which is an important role, but you guys try to take every single amount of importance of your role and just like shove it in people's faces because you're like God's chosen. Again, you are practically the opposite of a DPS player by not playing the role that you like. Apparently you fucking like playing it, but you rather not play it because you want to teach other people something that I physically don't think is teachable. So now you just make everybody's lives just so much more annoying. The people that don't have a care for what they play and just like to switch and play the game for fun, you're putting it on them in the same way that insta-lag DPS do. You are the cancer that you want to defeat. So how can we do this a more efficient way without just being a total bitch? If you don't like voice harassment, which hey, I think no one does, just take off voice chat, take off communications from anybody, and I promise you'll be fine. Yeah, this is a team game, but you can ping. You can do a lot of things without having to specifically talk into the mic. And if you're like, well, what happens if I want to cycle my support ults? Just get like a friend, man. Just find somebody, just talk to them and just be like, hey, I'll ult first. And then, you know, you just play like normal. Then if you get really mad at someone's opinion online, I promise you, this is probably not the space for you. If Necro's opinion on supports is like that big of a problem, there is one simple way to fix it, and that is just by making your own opinion. What you think is right is what you think is right. And I find it funny because if you do the support strike, I highly doubt you're in this guy's lobby to throw his games. You're throwing people's games that are just wanting to have fun or just level up in rank. Now listen, I don't condone harassment, but if you really want to just like make fun of Necros, just do it online. Instead of throwing people's games that just want to have fun, just go make fun of him in his comment section. Go call him chopped again. Maybe make up a new thing. Call him stupid. You know, it did work with the other guy. But with that, I think I was able to put all my grievances into this one video. There might be things I missed out on, and maybe I'll make a video in the future if there's enough of them, just to make sure everybody knows what exactly I'm saying. I think what support players complain about is totally valid. I think the way of doing this, of this support strike, is just really stupid. You just make the game more miserable, and now no one's having fun. But with all that, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you want to see any more Marvel stuff in the future, I am planning to make more, so, you know, stay around, and maybe subscribe. But with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.